We should be safe here.
Well, hello everybody. Let us not delay this any further because I've been dying to try out this recipe. For the ice cream base, we're going to heat some heavy cream and whole milk. And in a bowl, we're going to separate 5 egg yolks and proceed to mix it with sugar and give it a good whisking until it gets into a fluffy consistency. Now that the cream and milk mixture is hot and steamy, just slowly pour it into the yolk mixture. Mix it very well until it gets homogenized and put it back to the heat. Lower it to the minimum and just slowly stir the custard, and as soon as you notice it's thickening, move it out of the heat and place it in a bowl with white chocolate, not without passing it through a strainer. Then let it rest until the chocolate is completely melted and proceed to mix it until the chocolate dissolves into the custard and the mixture gets smooth and homogenized. Wrap the bowl in some kitchen plastic film and let the custard rest until it reaches room temperature. Next, just whisk some heavy cream in a mixer and keep doing it until it gets into a soft peak point. And now that our custard is at room temperature, just mix it with a portion of the whipped cream and then proceed to integrate with the rest of it, along with a few drops of light blue food coloring. And lastly, keep mixing in soft, gentle enveloping movements so the air in the base doesn't escape and the final result stays creamy and fluffy. Put it in the freezer for an hour and then whisk it again for a few seconds. This will disintegrate any rough crystals that may have formed in the freezing process. Then just put the ice cream in any foldable pallet mold of your choosing. Use a small spatula to keep the surface flat, and then you add the star ingredient, the sea salt. You can add the salt this way or use it while cooking the custard. If you wanna do it that way, I recommend adding just 1 pinch, enough to make the saltiness barely noticeable. But be careful though, if you add too much, you'll have to add more whipped cream, or in the worst cases, you will have to do everything again. Okay, honestly, after testing this recipe for the first time, I wasn't really sure the ice cream was going to be sturdy enough to keep the palette consistency and shape, but I'm pretty glad to see this result. Now, after tasting it, I would say that it's pretty good because you feel everything. You feel the dairy flavor of the cream, the consistency of the custard, which is soft and fluffy, and the salt add a good flavor to it. But also it's very important not to add a lot of salt, because in that case it would overwhelm the flavor, and we don't want that. So, since the salt I'm using is rough sea salt, in conclusion I recommend to add just a few grains of salt, or the other method I mentioned earlier. Alright, I've been thinking, I really want to complement this dessert with something completely different and opposite. In this case being a hot, mushy and delicious dark chocolate brownie, along with a caramel sauce. Also because I don't want the video to be that short. Alright, for the brownie, let's make it quick. Mix some sugar and eggs into a bowl and then add the melted mixture of butter and chocolate. Add it when it gets warm, not hot. Otherwise, you will get this strange mixture of scrambled eggs with chocolate and sugar and yeah. Finally, add the dry ingredients, that being the flour, the cocoa, and instant coffee. Mix it all until it gets homogenized and put it in a heat-resistant container with tin foil on it. This will make it easier for the cleaning afterwards. And just put it in the oven until it's ready. And for the last step, we are going for the caramel sauce. This one is pretty easy. Just put some sugar into a pan and leave it to the heat until it becomes caramel. You may need to stir it here and there, now and then, so it caramelizes equally. But when it's done, just add the cream and slowly mix it until you guessed it, homogenized. And finally, hey, did I mention that I've been trying to try this out? I did? Oh, okay. Alright. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy.